Welcome to the October edition of Special Olympics Rhode Island Magazine. We're back. I am very excited to be back on the show again, and joining me now is the CEO of Special Olympics Rhode Island, Dennis DeJesus.
Hi, Mary Ellen. How are you?
Good, thank you. It's great.
Been a while.
It has.
Great to be back.
Definitely. Can you tell me what the past year and a half has been like for Special Olympics Rhode Island since the pandemic began?
Well, March 2020, when we got the news that the state of Rhode Island was shutting everything down, and we were curtailing all of our activities, all of our sports, all of our fundraising. It was a very, very difficult time, I think, for staff members, for athletes, for donors. But gradually, as the pandemic progressed and we got out of that initial shock of the pandemic, I think that we began to organize our athletes and get our athletes back into play in safe sports, safe environments, adhering to the protocols of Special Olympics International and the state of Rhode Island. Our donors started to come back. I can remember in March and April walking to that mailbox and not seeing any donations or any envelopes, wondering whether we could keep this organization afloat. And then gradually, as we got into June, July, the summer, then into the fall and the winter, our donors came back, supporting the great athletes of Special Olympics Rhode Island, realizing that we needed their money to keep the organization going. But I can tell you, those first few months were shocking to everybody in our state and in our community, not just Special Olympics Rhode Island. But I keep thinking about our athletes and what our athletes were going through. It was difficult enough for anyone to grasp what this pandemic was all about. For our athletes, it was that much more difficult. So we made an effort, Jerry Walter, our Director of Marketing and Communications, myself, Chris Hopkins, our Program Director, to give our phone numbers out and our email addresses out. It encouraged any athlete who had a problem or a situation to call us or text us to let us know, so that we could let them know we were there for them.
That's great, and like the fact that we've been through so much, and how you went above and beyond to make sure, like what you're just saying about giving a phone number out so that you can communicate with athletes.
And I remember, like it was yesterday, I received a text from an athlete, and all he put was, "I'm scared." And how do you deal with that? And I reached back out to him and I said, "Call me. Whenever you need me, 24/7, call me so that we can have a conversation, so I can get you through this." But like I said, I mean, we were all going through something that none of us had ever experienced in our lives. So it was difficult for everybody. But I can remember when the state closed, when the Governor Raimondo at that time closed the state down, just going to our office every day by myself. And just, everything came to a halt. All of our athletic events, all of our fundraisers, all of our meetings, over, But gradually we came out of it, and we were very resourceful, came out of it, and hopefully we're on to some better things here in 2021.
Yes, and I'm sure you must have had some guidance and support with this tough decision that you've had to make. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I mean, we relied very, very heavily on the Department of Health. They were tremendous, always on the other end of the phone whenever we had a question about the pandemic. Special Olympics International gave out protocols and ways to handle certain situations. They were great. My board of directors, outstanding. Larry LaSala, who was the chair of the board at the time, would touch base with me every other day to make sure we were doing okay. Other board members as well. There was a lot of guidance and direction throughout the entire that entire period of time, thankfully, because I needed that direction to make sure that we were going in the right direction. And the one thing I want to emphasize, that when the pandemic hit, the number one factor, and I stressed this over and over again, was we want to keep our athletes safe. I'm not going to do anything that would put our athletes in an uncomfortable position or an unsafe position. Many of them with health issues, many of them with respiratory issues, many of them with deficient immune systems, who were susceptible to the virus. So again, that was the number one factor in any decision that was made. How does it impact the health and safety of our athletes?
Exactly. Now, what was the step-by-step process of getting Special Olympics Rhode Island running again, and how did we do navigating through it?
You know, sitting down with Chris Hopkins and his staff and thinking through what can we offer our athletes that is safe. And one of the things that came up was, you know, walking clubs, hiking clubs. We could keep distance. We're outdoors, and we're getting fresh air, and we're getting our athletes moving and off the couch. So the goal in the program department really responded well to that. Let's develop some athletic opportunities that will be safe for our athletes. And then as we started to progress along the way, following protocols by SOI and the Department of Health here in Rhode Island, we mandated that everyone had to wear a mask. We took temperatures. We did contact tracing, and recorded every athlete who came in and to make sure that we had all the information that we needed. Thankfully, not one athlete in that fall and winter season of, let's go to 2021, came down with the virus. So we were very, very happy with that. We were taking all the right steps to keep our athletes safe. And then gradually, through protocols at Special Olympics International and through the state of Rhode Island, we opened it up to more and more athletic activities as we felt it was more safe to do so.
Good. No, I know you mentioned keeping in touch with athletes by offering out your phone number. How else did you keep in contact with athletes?
Oh, the Wednesday night 7 o'clock Zoom meetings, which were, you know, Jerry Walter's idea, tremendous idea. And having the opportunity for athletes to come on the Zoom call, just say hello to one another, smile, talk to one another, you know, talk through any issues. Jerry lined up a number of speakers, some from the health department, Dr. Rubio from our board of directors, and Chris Hopkins came on board to talk about programming. I came on board just to get our athletes talking and let them know that there was someone there for them. The Zoom meetings were extremely popular. They eventually led into dance parties. And just the first 15 minutes when every athlete was saying hello to one another with a smile on their face, that's what it was all about.
And I participated in that too, and it was great to see, you know, it was great to see other friends, but it was also great to see the reactions of other athletes, excited to see their friends,
Right.
and to see you and Jerry, and, you know, it was great just to be a part of that. What did you enjoy most about Special Olympics during these rough times?
You know, it was a time of reflection. We go, as you well know, we're so fast-paced from event to event to event to event, fundraiser to fundraiser, event to event, athletic events. All of a sudden, everything stopped. Yep. And it really gave me, and I think gave our staff too, the opportunity to reflect on the work that we do and reflect on how we can, what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses going forward, how do we improve things. So that was one good thing that came out of the pandemic, that opportunity to reassess the work that we do. But again, if you ask me what my favorite part was, certainly the Zoom meetings, and having the opportunity to see the great athletes of Special Olympics Rhode Island again after such a long layoff.
Good. Now, everyone has moved at different paces throughout the pandemic with doing normal things again. What advice do you have for athletes who are just now ready to start doing things with Special Olympics again?
The first thing I would say to any athlete who wants to come back and compete is make sure they check with their doctor, their primary care physician. Let them know, these are the sports that I play, these are the protocols that are in place, and do you think it's safe for me to come back? I think that should be the priority of every athlete, checking with their personal physician. And then, you know, trusting the process. You know, like I said earlier, we didn't get, not one athlete came down with the virus when we were offering sports in 21, 22. And then I hate to say I would mandate this, but really give some serious thought to being vaccinated and getting the vaccination to protect yourself and to protect those around you. Now, Special Olympics International policy from day one, if you are not vaccinated, you can still participate. So it's not mandatory that you need the vaccine. But I think for your safety and the safety of others around you, I would encourage our athletes to talk to their physician, talk to their primary care doctor, and ask them about the ramifications of having the vaccine as it relates to their own personal health.
And I bet also to talk to each other, talk to friends who have had it and like, their comfort level, knowing that a friend's been through it or a family member.
Right.
Okay. Now, Celebrate the Movement. What is that and when is it going to be held?
So Celebrate the Movement came up last year. We were having a very difficult time hosting fundraisers. We needed the money to keep the organization going. And we came up with an idea called Celebrate the Movement, where over the course of 1 week, anybody, an athlete, a coach, parent, staff, board member, could walk, run, cycle, and get pledges from their family and friends to support Special Olympics Rhode Island. We couldn't congregate in one area, so everyone had to do their commitment over a 1 week period, really by themselves. Go to their local high school, their local track, ride the bike, whatever they decided to do. And last year, we raised $173,000 as a result of that fundraiser, the largest fundraiser we've ever had. This year, we're doing it again. We're encouraging family, friends, coaches, athletes to come back out the week of October 16th to the 24th. It's just a walkathon this year. We did away with the running and the bicycling a little bit. The message was getting a little bit too confusing for people. So it's a walkathon during that week. And we're asking them to contact family and friends. Hey, I'm with Special Olympics. We're celebrating the movement. Would you make a donation to help me reach my goal?
That's great. And, it's a great motivator for athletes too, like especially when there wasn't that much for us to do.
Exactly. I mean, it's twofold. You're getting off the couch, you're walking, you're doing some things, you're getting out into the fresh air, you're getting your body moving a little bit, and you're raising money for a great cause. As many of our viewers already know, no athlete pays to participate in Special Olympics. There's no registration fees or participation fees. That's why these fundraisers are so critically important to our success, to keep our organization running.
Right. How can people sign up to participate or make a donation?
I would go to our website for any information. It's always up to date, www.specialolympicsri.org. I would go to that website and all the information is there. There is a separate website, I believe a separate link that brings you to the page where you can set up a giving page that you can then send out to family and friends for them to make donations. It's a very easy process. If you're not computer savvy, call the office, 401-349-4900. Hey, I want to sign up for Celebrate the Movement. Who do I talk to? And I'm sure that either Tracy or Pat or Kate or somebody in our office will pick up and take you through the steps. It's very simple.
Okay.
Even I can do it.
Anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it, even me.
Why is it important for people, especially athletes, to participate in it?
It's all about them. This is their organization. These are programs that we're organizing, athletic events that we're organizing for them. And if we don't get their participation, why would just some citizen off the street decide to participate? Our athletes need to take a more critical role in fundraising, athlete leadership, all those things to move the organization forward.
Okay. If someone wants to visit the Special Olympics Rhode Island office, what rules should they follow?
They should really call first. They should set up an appointment if they can and say, hey, I want to come in. I want to talk to Jerry. I want to talk to Tracy. I want to talk to Chris, so that we know ahead of time that they're coming in. Just this week, we decided that anyone coming into the office should have a mask on, whether they've been vaccinated or not, to protect everyone in the office. And if you can call ahead, that would be great. Set up an appointment and then meet with the person you need to meet with.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me. It was a pleasure.
Great to be back, right?
Absolutely. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Special Olympics Rhode Island Magazine. My name is Mary Ellen Powers. Joining me now is the Director of Programs for Special Olympics Rhode Island, Chris Hopkins.
Hi, Mary Ellen.
It's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you, Mary Ellen. And first of all, right off the bat, it's so good to be back here at the PEG RI studio in East Providence. I think it's been a couple of years with this COVID, but it's good to be back. It's exciting, and I'm looking forward to the interview today.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Yep.
How does it feel to you to have sports back in person again for Special Olympics Rhode Island?
Well, personally, I think it's pretty awesome. I know we just finished up with croquet down at the Ocean House this past weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, and you can just really feel the excitement of the athletes getting the opportunity to be with their friends, to compete, just to be out and do things that are somewhat normal, things that we haven't been able to do the last couple of years. 3 weeks ago, we also had a softball tournament over in Pawtucket and up at Whipple Field, and you could really feel the excitement of the athletes just getting the opportunity to be together and to be with their friends and to compete for awards. And like I mentioned before, it's just to get back to some type of normalcy where our athletes can do some training, they can do some competing, they can be together, and it just really, it's exciting to be back, you know. And we also had our golf tournament, you know, in the mid part of August, and you could feel the same excitement. Athletes who are just so excited to be back and to compete on a weekly basis and to give themselves a sense of purpose, of going out there and training on a weekly basis to be ready for their competition at the end of the season. So things are good, and things are looking up right now, so that's great.
That's great, and I totally understand that feeling of being able to do stuff again. Like the first time I did something with my team again, I had tears in my eyes, like happy tears, like finally.
Yeah, and we find that not only with our athletes, but with the same thing that you're experiencing, Mary Ellen, but with our athletes, with our volunteers, with our families, with our coaches, you know, and it just has created that family fun atmosphere that we've always been used to enjoying in years past. So it's all good.
Mm-hmm. What sports were offered this past summer?
Okay, as I just mentioned, we had softball, and we finished up. We had league play on a weekly basis, although the rain put a damper on some of our league play games, but we were able to have a softball tournament this past summer. We had a higher ability that played over in the Hank Sauce Field, and I have to send a shout out to our friends over in Pawtucket for allowing us to use their facility. And so we had the higher ability teams playing over there. And we also had at Whipple Field, we had higher ability teams, or probably like middle ability teams playing at Whipple Field in Smithfield. But one thing that we did in softball this year for the first time is we had a skills competition for those athletes that were not ready to compete on a team or didn't want to compete on a team. And that was a success. So that was really a lot of fun. Golf took place, and that was throughout the entire summer, as I mentioned before. I can't help but thank our friends down at Buttonhole for allowing us to use their facility on Tuesday nights, and Saturday mornings we had 9-hole short course unified golf, and on Saturday nights at King's Crossing we had the 9-hole golf league for adults. It was 9-hole unified level 2, and we finished off with tournaments at the end of the year. So it was good. In addition, we also had hiking going on. We had fitness groups, walking groups that were taking place during the summer. So
nice. And it's great that you had the skills too, because it's a good opportunity when you haven't done something for so long, like to get back into it again, right?
Yeah, and the one thing that we found, Mary Ellen, is that throughout the pandemic, although we were not able to compete, we were able to train, and that's really where that came from. That athletes wanted to still compete, and maybe not compete at a level where they played softball and there were 10 athletes on a field where they could compete and work on their skills and work on skill development. And we really found that last year when we played outdoor basketball and we played flag football, that skills were really important in getting back to fitness number 1, health number 2, and skills number 3. So it's all good.
Now, can you tell me what the rules and the guidelines are for participating in sports again?
Well, they continue to change daily, you know, and we constantly look at the numbers. And right now, for athletes to compete outdoors, they have to wear masks Everybody has to wear masks, and and we practice social distancing. We ask the 4 questions about, if an athlete's feeling okay, and do they have a temperature, do they have a cold, that type of thing. So we ask all the questions that are asked by the CDC. What's kind of interesting about the guidelines is that we really follow the Special Olympics guidelines, which are stricter than, than the state of Rhode Island guidelines. But so we have to follow those guidelines, and because the numbers are up a little bit right now, everybody that plays has to wear a mask. We have to, practice social distancing. We have to clean equipment after we play, like bocce balls and and flag footballs. We have to kind of wipe them off so we don't pass on that COVID variant that's out there. So.
Okay. How are the rules for Special Olympics sports different than high school sports, and why do we take extra caution?
Well, as far as COVID is concerned, they're different because we follow different guidelines. We follow guidelines that are set by Special Olympics down in Washington. And because many of our athletes are medically compromised, some of them are okay to participate, we have to, and because we're a worldwide organization, we have to follow the guidelines that are set by Special Olympics. Those guidelines are standard all over the world. And so in some countries, it might be, the numbers might be a little bit higher than in the United States. And so we just have to follow guidelines that are strict in making sure that our athletes are safe. The difference between high school and Special Olympics guidelines is that they follow the state of Rhode Island laws or the state of Rhode Island guidelines. Although as the numbers start creeping up a little bit, I anticipate that in high school they're going to have to start wearing masks and social distancing and that type of thing. And we're just getting back into school right now, and we're seeing changes daily on social distancing and kids being on buses together and that type of thing. We're finding even like with transportation is a big issue because you have to put a lot of team members on buses together. So although the guidelines are somewhat the same, they're still a little bit different.
Yeah, and it's good to be educated about that too, because imagine if like an athlete has a family member in school and the rules might be different for them, and an athlete might wonder, why is it different for me? But it's great to, explain the importance of that.
Yeah, and we get those calls all the time, and the Unified Champion Schools program is a collaboration between Special Olympics and the Rhode Island Interscholastic League, and people don't always understand that. So, it's all in educating folks on, what that program is all about. And, we have a tremendous partnership with the Interscholastic League, so it can be a little bit of a challenge, but it's educating people on about the program.
And that was a great segue, by the way. My next question was about Unified Champion Schools. What's happening in the schools?
Well, we're just getting ready to offer volleyball in the fall season. We're going to be starting next week. What's interesting, Mary Ellen, is that we thought the school participation would be down this year, but in volleyball. But what we found, we went back to find out how many schools participated. 2 years ago, we had 26 schools. This year, we're going to have 27. So we have one extra school participating from 2 years ago when things were so-called normal. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign for us. The middle school, we have middle school cross-country taking place, and we're going to have we're going to have 3 different cross-country meets and a state championship over at North Kingstown High School in October. But those numbers are down slightly, and it's, we're not sure why, but people are just being a little bit more cautious about the pandemic and that type of thing. But at the high school level, we're looking forward to getting the program up and running next week, and schools are going to be playing against each other, and we're going to have a big tournament in the end of October down at Bishop Hendricken High School. So it's all exciting.
Nice. Now, what fall sports will we have?
Okay, we have here, you're talking about here on Special
Yes.
Olympics Rhode Island,
Yeah.
not the Unified Champion Schools program, but
Right.
traditional sports
Traditional.
program. So we have traditional soccer that's going to be taking place. We have a bowling, duck pin bowling, which is always a fun sport. We have flag football. We also have bocce and cornhole. That's going to be taking. Cornhole is going to be new to us this year, and on October 31st, which is Halloween, we're going to have a big, what we call a fall festival up at Bryant University, and for the first time, we're going to offer cornhole as an official sport for Special Olympics. So we're going to have cornhole, bocce, and flag football, and also flag football skills up at Bryant.
Nice, that's exciting.
Should be fun.
Yeah. Can you tell me about the virtual opportunities that athletes have had throughout the pandemic?
Yeah, I have Stephanie Bodette, who is our health and fitness director. She's going to be starting up next week with virtual, what we call Fit 5. So each week she's going to be doing some exercises, and she really had a good following during the pandemic when athletes was kind of stuck home. They were not able to go out. And it was one of the positives that came out of the pandemic, again, that we're going to continue this where athletes can train right in their living room, and Stephanie's going to be on going through different skills as part of Fit 5, to try to get people up off the couch and do some exercises. But what's important for the Fit 5 program and what Stephanie's going to try to do is gear her the virtual fitness program towards the sports that we're offering. So if, for example, if we have swimming, that's going to be a winter sport. So when she's doing virtual activities or virtual exercises, it's going to be geared towards swimming and some of the winter sports. Right now, she's gearing everything towards the fall sports. So,
Nice.
Yeah, so it's good. She did an awesome job, and she had a large following of people during the year, so which is great. Excuse me.
I was part of that following. I
Yeah.
enjoyed the weekly workouts, and it was really something great to do. Like when you're stuck at home and you want to be active at the same time.
And Stephanie's also going to have virtual exercises, and she's going to be at the Special Olympics office and do it during the day. So she's going to have it during the day and at night.
That's
So
great.
so for those athletes that may be working during the day and they want to go home and exercise at night, she's going to have that at night, and then she's going to have some exercises during the day for those athletes that maybe are retired or they're spending time at home right now, and so it should be good.
Good. What sports are athletes excited about that they would like to participate in but haven't done it yet?
Okay, there are two sports. One is swimming, right? And we keep getting a lot of calls about swimming. Everybody wants to swim. And the tough part with the pandemic is that it's hard to bring people inside right now. Mm-hmm. That's number one, and bowling's the other sport. So there are really two sports. Duck pin bowling. We're going to try duck pin bowling in the fall and have a tournament in November. But those are the really two sports. The problem with bowling is the balls come back, an athlete throws the ball or down the lane, and the ball comes back. They have to be wiped down and that type of thing. So that's a little bit of a challenge. We have to social distance, practice social distancing, so we may not be able to have all four athletes in every lane. We might have to have two athletes in every other lane. So it's going to spread out a little bit. If the pandemic gets to the point where we can't bring 200 people into town hall lanes, then we might have to have some type of regional competition at each of the lanes where the athlete's training. So we'll work that out. But those are the two sports really that athletes are really asking about.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me. It was a
You're
pleasure.
You're welcome, Mary Ellen.
Thanks. We'll see you next month for another great edition of Special Olympics Rhode Island Magazine.